All of these leaves I collected from the yard and I painted them by hand, and they were hot glued, each individually hot glued onto this tree. When they're all together, it looks like fall time in Sylvia land. They're made from scratch or found and adapted in some way, so everything gives the feel of, you know, something real but miniature. So I found images online of what I wanted it to look like, the feel of it, and just started building from that. So you can see all the fall colors and some of the designs for the backdrop. Right now I'm setting her up for the shot where she's collecting dirt for her mud cake. To move her eyes, there's a hole in the center. It's essentially just a bead, and so I stick the needle tool in and rotate it. So right now I'm setting up fire animation, and I'm using resin cast parts, replacement parts for fire, and setting up some LED lights to go behind the flames so that it has that nice sort of glow that fire has. So you can see this is a little tight space, but this is the gist of it. Everything in this smaller scale house is a miniature version of what's already in her room. So you can see this little wind chime is half the size of the one that's in her room, and the spider web, all of these things I made to look like everything she had in her room in the actual size of Sylvia's room. The wind chime and the spider web and the notebook with the pencil, all those things that made it. Sylvia is a wire armature, and so are all of her other characters. And basically what I had to do was, you know, create a silhouette of her, decide what size it was, and then make this armature board that would help me wrap the wire around. And so after I created her silhouette out of wire, wrapped it with some thread, I would create these connection points with brass stock. So you can see this is cold welded onto the wire, so that her head, which has another connection inside, can go on top. And this is mostly so that when things break during filming, you can easily replace parts and take them apart. It also helps with costuming so that I don't have to deal with a head while I'm making her costume or taking off pieces of clothes. She's got tie downs in the feet so that you can actually secure her wherever she's standing. And so you can see also in her arms and legs, she's got connection points for replacement arms to go on top. And this is also wire wrapped with sports tape. And this is Silicone Hand. So I sculpted the hand out of Sculpey and baked it. And then I hired my friend Paula Lauterbach to cast these in the same color as her Sculpey skin tone out of silicone. So I have a few of those in case they break, and they connect that way. And so I pulled these out so that I can actually dress her. And I've made these clothes out of different fabrics that I picked up at the thrift store. And so it's a mixture of hand sewing and using whatever seams are already on there, and putting fabrics together. This is a jacket that she's wearing on top of her dress. And the shoes I bought online. So you can tell a lot of things in stop motion are a combination of handmade things and doll props, doll accessories. So whatever you can get your hands on, really. You don't want to sit there and make everything from scratch if you don't have to. There's a pocket. We'll go here. Her mouth is a magnet, so you can see it whenever I want to replace her mouth with a different expression. I can just grab one of the other mouths that I've made for her, and those are the different expressions that I have. And put, let's say that I want her to look sad. I'm gonna put that now. So you can see she's got other expressions, and they're easy to replace. They're a little fragile because they're all handmade out of Sculpey and tinted, but I take careful care of these. And then her eyes, same as younger Sylvia. You can see if I want to change the position of her eye, just grab into that hole and rotate it. And then her eyebrows are a mixture of wax and clay, so that I can shape them and remove them, basically just animate them when I need to. You can see I've made lids and brows for her, so when she, needs to blink or has her eyes closed, she has a left and a right lid. And those are also made out of wax and clay from a mold that I've created, so that goes on top. For this, I also pulled a reference online to get a feel for what I wanted it to look like, and it always helps to work from something. So this is like a nursing home that had burnt down, but it gives me a sense of all the texture that I'm going for. Some of the things that I'm going to be using, like this moss that I bought, already looks like burnt wallpaper. So what I've done is started to glue it down into places on the wall where it looks like the wallpaper has been eaten away and destroyed. And I did a mixture of burning and painting because first I wanted to see what the fire, would actually look like, how it would burn. And then when I want it to be more intentional, more on point, I airbrush the rest. This scene is sort of the bookend, beginning and end of Sylvia, where you see the house is already burned down. And so the way I'm staging it right now is just to have nothing but the bed and just rubble in the room, and everything you can see is starting to have that burnt down look to it. It's a combination of actual fire and airbrushing and hand painting. So you can see, you know, the bed has been burned in different places, starting to feel like it went through a fire. I love the transformation that these things go through, the life that they have in the film.